You know, it's a wild thought. An ancient text written thousands of years ago, helping with the stress of modern university life? It sounds kind of out there, right? But that's exactly what we're digging into today. We're going to see how some students are using these ancient solutions for problems that are, well, super current. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's be real for a second. That feeling of being totally overwhelmed by exams, that constant pressure about your career, having to make decision after decision, sound familiar? Yeah, it's pretty much the universal student experience. It's like a modern-day gauntlet of stress.
But what if the answer wasn't in a new app or some productivity hack? On a university campus in Darchula, Nepal, students are actually turning to a super unexpected source for help with all this stuff. We're talking about the ancient wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita.
All right, so what exactly are these hurdles? What are the big challenges that students are facing that this ancient text can supposedly help with? Let's break it down.
So a seminar for first-year students on this campus basically put a name to these feelings, and here's what they came up with. First, you've got those constant decision dilemmas, that feeling of being paralyzed when you have to make big life choices. Then there's the crazy stress from exams and career pressure, a real lack of self-confidence that just kind of creeps in, and of course, the never-ending fight against distractions and a fear of failure. It all just piles up into this big cloud of uncertainty about what's next.
Okay, so the big question is, how on earth can a text from so long ago help with all that? Well, the whole key was how they framed it. They didn't present it as scripture, but as, well, something totally different.
The motivational speaker there, Shirendra Ojha, absolutely nailed it. He said the goal was to treat the Gita not just a religious text, but a scientific guide to life management for youth. I mean, that really changes the whole perspective, doesn't it?
So let's get on the same page. For this whole discussion, we're looking at the Gita exactly how these students saw it, as a practical manual for real-world life skills. It's all about getting a handle on your mindset, figuring out your duties, and finding that emotional balance.
All right, so that's the setup. But how does this ancient wisdom actually help with the stressed-out mind? Let's get into the specifics.
What they did was pretty cool. They basically mapped the problems directly to solutions from the Gita. So for all that mental chaos and stress, the answer is developing mental stability and focus. For that feeling of being frozen by indecision and fear, the solution is getting clear on your duty and just taking action without fear. And for all those distractions and the lack of discipline, the answer is self-control and mindfulness. It's a really direct approach.
And one of the core ideas they talked about was this: the art of stabilizing the mind is yoga. Now, they weren't just talking about doing downward dog. In this context, yoga is all about mastering your mind, keeping it stable and focused. Honestly, in a stressful university environment, that's basically a superpower.
And this wasn't just high-level philosophy. They broke it down into some really practical steps to build self-discipline. First up, practice sense control, basically getting a handle on your impulses. From there, it's about mastering time management, building solid study habits, and, this is a big one for today, using social media mindfully, so you're in control, not the other way around.
And the whole point of this? It's pretty straightforward, really. When you build up that self-discipline, you can finally cut through all the noise. You can beat procrastination, ignore the distractions, and focus your energy on what actually matters.
But here's the thing. It goes way beyond just managing stress. This is really about forging the leaders of the future. And this is where it gets really interesting. This is where you see these timeless virtues mapping perfectly onto modern skills. That sense control and discipline we just talked about. That's just another name for self-management. The idea of focusing on your duty without obsessing over the outcome, that's leadership and integrity right there. Courage and truthfulness? Hello, positive mindset. And emotional balance? That is literally the definition of emotional intelligence. It's an amazing one-to-one match.
And get this, there were actually 6 of these critical life skills that they pulled from the Gita's teachings. So on top of things like self-management and leadership, you can also add communication and collaboration to that list. It's all in there.
Okay, so this all sounds great in a seminar room, but did it actually work? What was the real impact on the students who were there?
Well, the feedback from the students says it all. They called the session extremely useful, inspiring, and practical. They didn't see it as some dusty old lecture. They saw it as something they could use right here, right now, in their everyday lives.
And it wasn't just the students who were impressed. The whole thing was such a hit that the campus itself has now committed to hosting more of these life skill programs. That's a huge vote of confidence.
It's just a really powerful reminder that sometimes the best solutions for our modern problems have been around for a very, very long time. And it kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? In our own busy lives, with all of our own unique challenges, what timeless wisdom could we be applying right now?